Well, so much for Crime Spy's No Makeup Sunshine Day. Hello, everybody. Boy, busy news day, huh? Or wait, I should say, it's kind of a snooze news day, huh? I don't think I have all my lights on. Well, this is Crime Spies. No makeup, no hair done. I was trying to enjoy myself and get some vitamin D. Guess that's not going to happen. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. I could put my hat on, I suppose. Announce yourself in the chat. And I was going to try to look for the indictment. I finished reading the Trump indictment, by the way. And as usual, it's total bullshit. Okay, that's running. Good, good. Let's go over here, make sure that's going.
Well, good afternoon.
Hi, Slick Nerd. Happy Friday.
Well, good afternoon, everybody.
How's the garden?
Thank you for being here today. I'm Bonnie Bowman. I'm a public information
Gotta
officer.
find my window here.
We
We
continue to assist in
Stop.
investigating this case. Today you will hear from Winona County Attorney Karen Sonneman. She will offer some prepared remarks, and then
Mother
we will
prompt.
have time for questions.
I'll
at the
shut my
end.
mic off.
But as always, I do need to offer the caveat that this is an ongoing and active investigation. The prosecution is also just beginning, so there are some things we will not be able to discuss today, and we do ask that you respect and understand that as we get into the question portion of today's news conference. In the meantime, I'd like to invite up the county attorney.
Good afternoon. I'm Winona County Attorney Karen Sonneman, and I'm here today to announce my office filed charges against Adam Fravel for the murder of Madeline Kingsbury. Behind me is the team from my office and some law enforcement, but the team from my office that I have assembled to prosecute this case. This includes Special Assistant Winona County Attorney Phil Prokopowicz, who I have hired to lead our prosecution team. Mr. Prokopowicz is retired from the Dakota County Attorney's Office, where he served many, many years as the Chief Deputy in the Criminal Division. My team and I are committed to seeking justice for Maddie and her family. We have charged Mr. Fravel with second-degree intentional murder and second-degree unintentional murder. Some of you may be wondering why my office did not charge first-degree murder against Mr. Fravel at this time. Let me explain the law in Minnesota. In order to charge first-degree murder, a prosecutor must present the case before a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether there is probable cause to support an indictment for first-degree murder. Because this case remains an active and ongoing law enforcement investigation, we may seek additional charges in the future. At this time, it's my understanding that Mr. Fravel remains in custody. The judge this morning set his bail at $2 million unconditional and $1 million conditional. His next court appearance is scheduled for July 20th, 2023 at 1:45 p.m. We know many of you are concerned for the well-being of Maddie's two children. They remain in Maddie's father's care and will stay there for the time being. The child protection case that my office is also handling remains open and active. A determination in that CHIPS or child protection matter will be made at a later date. We have heard from so many individuals how wonderful a person Maddie was. She had a bright future, and Mr. Fravel took that from her. by charging him today with her murder, we intend to hold him accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you.
That ends the prepared statements. We're ready to take some questions again with that caveat that there are some things we just won't be able to share. So if you have a question, feel free to shout it out.
And Ms. Sonneman, how do you think Maddie was killed?
At this time, I can only say that the investigation is ongoing and active, so I'm not going to make any comment about that at this time.
If Mr. Fravel does bail out, will he be able to see his children? Can you explain kind of how these two things will work together?
Yes, a good question. There's also a family court custody case going on as well, which is, so there's really 3 proceedings. But in the child protection case, there were certain conditions in that case also where Mr. Fravel could have supervised and secure visitation with his children, meaning in a secure site, under observation, basically. If he bails out, the court allowed him to continue to have that supervision under those conditions that were in the child protection case. So that.
Do you plan on asking that to be revoked, though?
There is a later hearing in the child protection case, and I can't comment at this time on that, but all options are open.
Can you explain why there are 2 separate second-degree murder charges? What is the difference, and how does that relate?
There are two charges because one is called intentional murder and the other is unintentional murder. And at this time, as I explained, we can't charge first-degree murder, but we can charge those 2, and based on the evidence that we felt we could prove with certainty from our perspective beyond a reasonable doubt, those are the most serious charges we can charge now. The difference between those is that the individual's conduct would be intentional to cause the death of a person. The other is that their actions unintentionally cause the death of the person.
Was Matt?
Can you go into detail about more depth about the difference between intentional and unintentional?
Well, I would refer you to the Minnesota statutes, but it's basically just that a person had the intent to cause the death of another individual and took such actions that were intentional, and the result was that person was killed. Unintentional is just as it really states, that actions were taken and that person didn't really mean to have that, whatever the actions they did, they didn't really want it to result in a death, but it did.
Was Maddie abused?
You talk about during the Zoom hearing, your special prosecutor told the judge about Fravel mocking officers, making flippant comments. Could you share a little bit more light on some of those interactions?
I won't go into great detail, but what he was referring to was when as part of the child protection proceeding, the children were, he had the children, and as you can, if you've read the complaint, and please read the complaint because it's very detailed, it'll answer a lot of your questions. But as we put in the complaint, he went and took the children from the daycare and brought them to his parents' house. So at the time the child protection case was initiated, the children were with him in his parents' house in Mabel, Minnesota. And so part of the child protection case was that Winona County was taking custody of those children, and so social workers and law enforcement went to secure the children, and that's where some of those behaviors were exhibited by Mr. Fravel.
Was Maddie controlled?
Just a second. She's. Go ahead.
Sure. In the press conference yesterday, you mentioned digital evidence that helped you locate Maddie's body. Is that the video footage that was outlined in the complaint, or was this something different? And if so, can you describe a little more as to what?
Well, and I think I didn't say that, Chief Williams did.
Sure. Sorry. I see you standing.
Yeah, but at this time, again, I can only say that this is an ongoing and active law enforcement investigation, and we have just started our prosecution. So
There are instances in the complaint that refer to this, was Maddie controlled and abused during their relationship by Adam Fravel?
Again, our case is ongoing as far as law enforcement investigation, and what's in the complaint is what's in the complaint. And again, this is just the beginning of this case, and there's more investigation to do. But there may be additional charges, but again, first-degree murder can only be obtained through a grand jury proceeding.
Well, what happens after July 20th?
It depends on what happens on July 20th. So, okay, so.
Any
Time for a couple more.
you can share?
In the complaint, it mentions that someone met Adam Fravel's description was had some license plates on Adam's van. Can you confirm if this was him? And was he switching? What was he doing with the license plate?
As the complaint indicates, we stated it was an individual that was observed changing license plates, and those are the type of issues that we would want to identify if this case goes to trial. So,
Did he go straight to the spot where the body was eventually found, or did he go to the farm first? And there's an unaccounted for 45 minutes, it says.
again, our case and law enforcement is an ongoing investigation. It's still active, and those are issues that I can't comment on now.
Did additional charges come out of Fillmore County in terms of possibly moving the body, concealing it?
I'm sorry, what?
Additional charges in Fillmore County?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation. I'm sorry I keep having to say that, but I don't want to compromise the integrity of either the law enforcement investigation or our prosecution case.
And that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
do want to clarify, though, Lou, to your question, it's in the charging document, but the medical examiner's office did rule that the manner of death was homicidal violence. So it is in the charging documents if you have read those. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you do. It adds a lot of context as to why these charges were presented and some more context to the case as well. And just for myself on a personal note, I want to thank you all for being out here. I know for many of you, it's a decent drive to get out here to Winona, and we really appreciate your continued coverage of this case. It has made a really big difference in keeping up the confidence and the spirits of the community as we continue to work through what is a really difficult case and prosecution and ongoing investigation, as we've said. So thank you again so much all for being here.
Yes, thank you all.
Well, another very quick press conference. I just wanted to read a few things for you while you're here before I go back and try to enjoy some sunshine. Crime Spies. What should I say? Crime Spies. I don't know. Why do I hear music? Bye, Slicknard. Oh, I gotta shut this off. Okay, so Slicknard had asked about the outcome of the Bleefnick trial, and I had explained to him that he was found guilty of all charges, but in my opinion, the state brought first-degree murder charges against him, and, if they would have brought conspiracy charges, I might have bitten on that. Because I think there was enough evidence to show conspiracy. But just the simple fact that within the week preceding her murder, there was a robber caught on the neighbor's camera trying to break into the neighbor's car. I mean, to me, that's like reasonable doubt. So I just retweeted two things on my Twitter, and I'll go put it on Truth Social as well. But there's a guy named Lou Bragus at LOURAGUSE on Twitter, and he's had a whole thread today. So if you don't know how to use the Thread Reader app, anytime someone puts together a thread, you just go into a comment under any of those pieces of the thread and just write at Thread Reader app space and the word unroll. Unroll, one word. And within like 15 seconds, ThreadReader will give you a document which you can then open. I usually switch it to Reader View and then export it to like iBooks. But you could export to Kindle, or you could export it to any kind of PDF reader. But basically, the nuts and bolts of it are he was charged with second-degree murder, and she explained in the press conference why they're pursuing second-degree murder at this time, although they said, down the road, I'm sure once they have had a chance to review the evidence that they collected when her body was found the other day, in combination with the evidence that has been in the investigation up to this point, they may reserve the right to switch that. But in the criminal complaint, which I retweeted this guy's thread. I just unrolled it. I unrolled it earlier, and with ThreadReader, you can force a refresh, but it was easier to do a new one. And then the other thing I retweeted was from MB Inc. MB Inc., if you're watching, thank you very much. You were like the first one that popped up. But he also posted a copy of the complaint and I just retweeted that. It says that a knotted towel was wrapped around her head and neck. Cause of death was homicidal violence. Is it pronounced Fravel or Fravel? Fravel, maybe? Told investigators the day of the disappearance he planned to do property storage runs, going to his parents' house. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit more. Oop, nope. In Mabel, then returning to Winona to take things to Midwest storage. Here, you know what? Nope. Here. Add. There. Now we can read along together. Isn't that nice? Okay. Fravel told investigators the day of the disappearance. I already said that. He said he started that way, but realized when he got to Choice in Fillmore. Okay, so probably has to go to parents' house in Mabel, then return to Winona to take things to Midwest storage. He said he started that way, but realized when he got to Choice in Fillmore County, he realized items in the van were meant to be stored at the storage unit, not his parents' place. So he turned around in Choice and drove back to Winona. Choice must be a small city in Fillmore. I've never heard of Choice, Minnesota. Fravel, that's what I'm going with, admitted to police that he once made a statement to Maddie that if she didn't listen up, she would end up like Gabby Petito. I think we all know about Gabby Petito, that cute little girl that went on a van life excursion with her boyfriend Brian Laundrie, and then she was found deceased, and then he went and decided to end his own life and leave a note for his mother. That whole thing is so sad and weird. Claiming he was making a joke. Fravel admitted being infatuated with the Gabby Petito case, which is weird. I mean, I think we were all struck by how awful it was. And, it was like one of the most retweeted missing persons cases. There was all kinds of true, crime sleuths trying to figure out. I mean, actually, it was somebody in the true crime community that happened to have a dash cam on that caught the van in where she was found. A friend of Maddie's also shared an instance where she saw Fravel strike her in the face when Maddie was on a video call with the friend, him not realizing Maddie was on the call. A family member of Maddie's told police about a time she learned Fravel put his hands around Maddie's throat. Maddie and Fravel texted each other about the incident. Video evidence helps form a timeline of the movements of Maddie's van. And then there's this stuff. So I'm not going to read through all of this, but that is in there as well. These two things. So you could just pause the screen and read them. I mean, I would read it, but this was kind of thrown together at the last minute. I'm feeling a little self-conscious and naked. That video evidence involves Fravel switching license plates from his car to the van. She mentioned that. It was switched back later that night. I wonder why you would do that where his tabs expired. That just doesn't make sense. The van is backed into the driveway at 10:31 p.m., which a neighbor told me was odd, and then noted there's a 45-minute gap. Okay, so I gotta read that. Okay. According to the complaint, the evidence linking the discovery of Maddie's body to Fravel, his family routinely maintained the property. Gray-fitted bedsheet wrapping body was missing from the Fravel home. Gorilla tape matches that found at Fravel's home. The criminal complaint is signed by Winona Police Chief Tom Williams and Winona County Attorney Karen Sonnerman. That was the lady that was speaking. It's a largely circumstantial evidence case, and I will be seeking opinions from experts I trust on how strong it looks. In Minnesota, jurors are instructed that circumstantial evidence carries the same weight as physical evidence, which has made a difference in other trials I've covered. That seems odd, but everything here in Minnesota is odd. The link between the items found on Maddie's body, bedsheet especially, and Fravel making it more clear why he wasn't arrested, and Fravel made it more clear why he wasn't arrested until her body was found. Fravel will make his first court appearance here at 11 a.m. Okay, so that was earlier. Could be set by a judge. I will report back with details. I do not know his family financial situation, if they are capable of posting high bail. In Minnesota, no bail is not an option. The judge said, okay, so again, this is like a thread that he's put together. Judge said bail $2 million without conditions or $1 million with conditions. Conditions would make no contact with the Kingsbury parents or siblings. However, because of the paralleled order in Child Protection Services case and custody case, he could see his kids if bailed out. Oh my God. No! Remember that girl, Powell? Remember Josh Powell? What's her name? Susan Powell? She was, I'm on YouTube. She was, by Josh. And then he was working out like a custody battle kind of thing. And the lady was bringing the kids over for visitation, and he like slammed the door in her face, and both boys, and set the house on fire. So Minnesota is probably not a good idea. God, these people. Boy, that is disturbing. What that means is that Adam Fravel currently is allowed supervised visitation in a secured facility with his No, because that lady, the lady from Child Protective Services, she goes, ding dong. He opens the door. The little boy goes in, and before she knows it, he shuts and locks the door. She calls 911. And I don't know if you've ever heard about that case. I think it was from like 2018, 19-ish. Susan Powell, the guy Josh Powell. It's horrifying. That's the same thing. Shit here. Oh my God. Since that's an order the judge signed, it will continue if Fravel bails out unless that order in the CH Chips case is changed. No kid visits in jail. Interesting tidbit from the prosecution. During this investigation, Fravel has mocked police, exposed himself to police, made flippant remarks to police. Special prosecutor Phil Prokopos, I don't know, added that when Child Protection removed the kids from Fravel, he took one child inside and barricaded them from the county workers. That's just like the Josh Powell thing, which if he was so-called obsessed over Gabby Petito, that Susan Powell, Josh Powell thing was all over Dateline and documentaries. Jesus God. I mean, are these people that stupid? Okay, after this, I'm going to go and litter Twitter. Oh my God, my God. Special Prosecutor Phil added that when Child Protection removed the kids from Fravel, he took. Okay, I just said that. I'm so distraught. I'm sorry. He said, Phil said he is taking the lead on the case for Winona County. He is retired former head of criminal division in Dakota County, and his prosecutorial skills are very highly regarded statewide. Fravel's attorney, Zach Bauer, had asked for $500,000 bond with conditions, disputed that the children were caused discomfort in the incident with Child Protective Services, pointed out that he has lots of family and has lived in southeast Minnesota his whole life. His next court date is set for July 20th at 1:45 p.m. over Zoom. Oh, I did have a big question mark because I missed that in my haste. This case is unique because of how long Maddie was missing in the mass search, but according to the details in the criminal complaint, it follows the pattern of countless domestic homicides before it. Allegation of controlling male, losing control over female, kills to regain it. This is pretty crazy. Adam Fravel told authorities he turned around in Choice, Minnesota. Looking at the map, I'm just 1.5 miles from where Maddie's body was found. Yep, that's exactly where I thought it was. Right down here. Because there's a picture posted yesterday of this like fork here. Sickening text exchange in which Adam Fravel implicitly admits on abusing Maddie Kingsbury. Maddie, you know I'm not really okay with or over the fact that you put your hands around my neck and pushed me down in front of the kids earlier. So don't. Maddie, not okay with it, but especially with them there. Fravel, you'll adjust. Maddie, the fuck I will. Maddie, you do that again without asking me, you can go somewhere else. Fravel, you got it, mother. Maddie, don't patronize me. That crossed a line. Fravel, then mind. Maddie, stop. Holy shit. That's it. That's the end of it. So I'll keep monitoring this. Where am I? Okay, so again, if you want to just watch now, something screwed up over here. Oh no, it's not. Good. Oops. Okay, so if you want to just pause the screen right now, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is page 1. I'll try to find the actual link, but this is screenshots from, again, thank you MB Inc. for posting this. Count 1, murder in the second degree. Count 2, murder in the second degree. And then statement of probable cause, which is basically, I'm assuming, just a summary of what I just read. Again, you can pause. And then here's the text messages. Oh, and then here's the timeline we kind of looked at earlier. So I'm going to let you go for now. And then I'll go ahead and read this. And I might pop on later because I want to go over this bullshit Trump indictment that I finished reading all of the bullshit in the first 28 pages or 27 pages. I forget how many pages. Well, it's 49 pages total, but they make their case in like the first half. And then the second half is just laying out all the, 30, 40 charges and then tying it back to the first 20 pages of bullshit. Although I will read to you some things I observed briefly. I don't know, maybe nobody's watching anymore, but I just put it under okay, so I just put this under Donald Trump Jr.'s thing, but they were talking about, nevertheless, Trump stored his boxes containing classified documents in various locations, including a bathroom and a shower, office space, la la la. So then here's the thing. We can definitely, there's still a little room in the shower where his other stuff is. And so I like commented, what do you want about the shower was a misspelling for a different word. And they're taking it like literally. And then, I don't know where my other things are, but there was a couple other things where I'm like, here, on June 1st, Trump spoke with attorney number 1 by phone and asked, okay, so how did they know who he talked to on June 1st? And what was discussed? Is his phone bugged? And there was a couple other weird things. Here's more. There's timestamps, approximately 24 seconds. Timestamps. And, here's another one. Then in media, this is another one. In sum and substance. So he says, while meeting with Trump attorney 1 and 2 on May 23rd, Trump, in sum and substance, told the following story as memorialized. How is that evidence? Does he have a recording of it? It doesn't look like it. It says in sum and substance, told the following story as memorialized. This is such bullshit. So I guess I don't want to cloud the Madeline Kingsbury one up with the Trump indictment, but that's what I was reading outside. Here's me. Oh, help me, Rhonda. The shower? God. And also, here's another one. Classified information, yada, 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 was designed as SEI. They're supposed to be read in a skiff. Well, guess what? Guess what Mar-a-Lago has? Mar-a-Lago has a skiff. This is from, I forget, like 2017. Stormy Capitol, where sensitive information was being presented, raise awareness, Republican members of Congress, speak of, okay. But it turns out skiffs are not just found in the nation's capital. There is a skiff at Mar-a-Lago, which is used when President Donald Trump is in town. Ironically, the existence of the skiff at the president's private club in Palm Beach was first revealed in a White House press briefing on February 14th, 2017. To rebut criticism, Trump himself had put sensitive discussions at risk. That was days after Trump was held in an impromptu security gathering in Mar-a-Lago dining with Japanese Prime Minister, Abe. Remember, he was murdered. Yada, yada, yada. So again, I don't want to litter that, but that's what I was reading outside. And then I saw somebody say there's a conference. I'm like, oh, geez, gotta run inside. Okay, so I'm going to let you go for now. But I might hop on later when I'm a little bit more prepared and not so, frizzed out. All right. So thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, follow the channel. We're almost at 300 on Rumble. YouTube, I've kind of given up on, but, it is what it is. So for now, I will see you later. Later, Gator. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. It's beautiful here in Minnesota. Get some vitamin D while you can. And I'll be either back later today for a Trump thing, or I might just wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow he is going to be speaking. When is it? I can't find it. But he is speaking at Georgia. I want to say it's like 2:30 Central Standard Time tomorrow, or 1:30. I'll have to look. And then there's also another thing that he's speaking at 6 p.m. So tomorrow might be, I might just go over this Trump stuff tomorrow before those, because it'll be a pretty busy afternoon with him. All right. Have a wonderful, beautiful day, and we will see you very soon. Goodbye. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. If you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button. Share this video on your social media. Subscribe to our channel. Turn on those important notifications. Follow us on Twitter. This channel is new, so that means we work for free. Any support is most appreciated through Rumble Rants, Venmo, or Buy Me a Coffee. All links are in the description box below. I look forward to your next visit to Crime Spies. Thanks again so much and have a blessed day.